and I'm so excited. Bermudez on. Let's see if she's there. Drum roll, please. It works.
It did.
It's my favorite thing. I honestly feel like it's Bluetooth when it connects to your car and you're like, it's a miracle.
Right.
It's a miracle that it works. Hi, lady. Happy
Hi. How are you?
Thursday.
Thank you. Happy Thursday to you too.
Happy almost end of school.
It feels like somebody just like cranked up the volume, right?
I will say that because I don't read school emails anymore,
Yeah.
I've missed a few things, just a few. And it's okay because I'm like, ignore, do not disturb. And I feel like they want an adrenal gland now. You know, it's
Right.
like you sign your child up for school and you're like, and here is my last adrenal gland that you can have. Anyway,
Yeah, it feels a little crazy making about now. Yeah.
it's not for the faint of heart, I
Right.
would say. Motherhood is not for the faint of heart, which
Hell no.
we're going to talk about.
Hell no. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
First, are you is this a swear-free zone? Okay. Because I can swear sometimes. I just want to make sure
It's
that I don't
so funny.
offend
You know,
her.
we had somebody else ask that, and I was like, I don't know how to speak without swearing. And I'm not necessarily proud of that per se, but I do. It helps me express
Yeah.
myself. That
Yeah, me
sometimes
too. I get it.
four-letter words just are the only way to
Right.
express yourself. So,
Yeah. Just like a
uh,
nice exclamation
yeah,
point.
no kidding. Exclamatory. Do you mind if I introduce you and
Knock
then
yourself
we
out.
can dive right in because
Sure.
I'm so excited that we're talking. Ladies and gentlemen, we have before us a queen, an amazing woman who I recently just met. And you are so many things. But Lizzie Bermudez is not only an Emmy award-winning journalist, she is a podcaster. She's one of the first midlife influencers, I would say, in this space, in this category. You really created something out of, there was no conversation about
Right.
midlife, and you were at the forefront of that before this insurgence, if you will, of conversation. And so you really are a change maker and somebody whose fingers on the pulse of humans. You've done storytelling your entire career. And so tapping into that need, want, desire of people, I'm sure kind of influenced how you approached both podcasting and producing and journalism, but also how you're approaching your midlife influencer and content creator. The world that you are exposing for people and making it so relevant for so many of us. I love this quote that you have. You help women embrace their middle ages, which I think is hysterical because those of us who took, history. But I think it goes back to your tips and tricks in real life application. Your vulnerability shows, and you are not afraid to use your own vulnerability and experiences to help others feel like they're not alone, which is for so many of us. And when you and I met, it was instant, like, oh, this person totally gets what I'm going through. And that recognition of shame and so much fear, these things that we have, by exposing them, you are really giving us permission to talk about that, which is so transformative for so many women. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And then I love that you are a mother of two girls, which we're going to talk about a lot today. I'm a mother of four boys. And so while not the same, it was some of the, until you've been through it, you can't even imagine it. So thank you for sharing your motherhood journey. And I just want to close and say you are somebody who has interviewed celebrities and CEOs, but you really are shining the light on us average girls in the middle, in our 40s and 50s and 60s, and sharing those stories, which I think is so relevant and permissible to so many of the women in our community. So thank you
Oh
for
my
everything.
God, that was so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. It's so funny. The hardest transition, in fact, my daughter's in college, and she's one of my best cheerleaders and biggest critics. And the hardest thing going from television to creating content is I see a camera, I
Hmm.
see a lens, and I'm like,
You pop up.
tonight at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
I want to just like go straight into reporter mode. And I'm so used to telling other people's stories,
Yeah.
and now it's just being myself and raw and vulnerable. It's so funny. My daughter's like, "Mom, put on your Aviator Nation sweats. Maybe do this interview from bed. Like
Yeah.
just talk."
Yeah.
And so, like, that's been my goal. Like every time, like, thank you for inviting me because every time I do one of these, I'm just like, relax. We're not, it's not live television. We're not saving the world. We're just talking.
But we are. I mean, I think that that's yes, and I think there's a way to save the world in this. And so many women, this is their format of ingestion. This is where they seek connection and they
Right.
seek validation and they seek information because the nightly news can be
Right.
sometimes scary these
Right.
days. So sometimes people don't watch it. I don't know, I'm just saying.
Me?
I've opted
Guilty.
out. Unsubscribe.
Right.
So I completely wholeheartedly agree with your daughter that, you are shining light on your story and it's yours and you're owning it and it's so awesome.
Thank
And I
you,
think,
Melissa.
no, I'm not
Thank you.
kidding.
Thank you.
So when you and I met, so Lizzie and I met, oh God, I don't even know, at least,
A month ago? No,
at least
2 months ago?
2 months ago. Let's go 2 months ago. Um, and it was one of those in like kind of a meet cute, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
my new friend Lizzie. Um, but I would love for people to kind of understand how you started. What was it that you said, I'm going to be an Emmy award winning, brilliant journalist who's been, again, at the face and front lines of this country's evolution. And you're like, nope, I'm going to do this instead. What did that look
Well,
like for you?
well, it wasn't one of those things that I like automatically was like, oh, I have this epiphany. I mean, I was in some essence aged out
Interesting.
of my
Yeah.
of my TV career, and that was, I mean, it just felt like middle age. It was late 40s, early 50s, and the media, television is not a kind to
No.
women. There's a great inequality between the men and the women, and I just felt that the ageism, it was subtle and it was relentless. And so, I saw the handwriting on the wall. And then I had a hysterectomy. I had a kind of a health scare, a cancer scare, ovarian cancer scare that required me to go through a hysterectomy. And that kind of was the impetus, just like, wait, where's the information? Where are the resources?
Right.
And I'm a reporter by nature, so I ask a lot of questions, and I'm love researching. And Melissa, it was crap
Yeah.
online. And I'm one of those people who goes deep on
Yeah.
Google. I'm not like on the first 5 pages.
You're page
I'm
52.
50 pages in. Yeah, I'm like deep, deep, deep. Like, I'm going to keep
Yeah.
searching and keep searching. And I couldn't believe what a lack of information there was.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, if this is how I feel, and I'm somebody who I feel like I know what's going
Yeah.
on, and I love technology and I like researching, then I can't be alone.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even to this day in 2025, sometimes I'm like, my mind is blown. And one of the statistics or data points that I constantly refer to is that it wasn't until 2016 that female mice or rodents within the rodent, there are different phases of clinical trials, as a sex as a variable trait was required because we were just small men, right? Like 2016. That's
Right.
wild. I mean, that is so totally wild. And so when you think about hysterectomy, what was your medical journey? How have we tested that?
Right. Well,
What?
just even my hysterectomy, like I had a male oncologist, gynecologist,
Mhm.
oncologist, I can't
Mhm.
remember which
Yep.
one goes in front of the other. And he was like, we're going to take this, we're going to take that, we're going to take this, we're going to take that. And, like,
Yeah.
you'll have some, you'll need some lube. You'll be fine. That was it. Even my own gynecologist.
Yeah.
And I spiraled for at least a year and a half because it wasn't just a easy peasy recovery for me. And I had a lot of things to deal with
Yeah.
afterwards. And there was like the whole emotional side of it. And I had a lot of sexual intimacy issues that
Yeah.
I never saw coming.
Yeah.
And so,
How did you seek support? What was that? Where did you, okay, so your gynecologist oncologist was like, hey, just pick up some lube at your local
right,
CVS and like
right.
rock on, Shaka Khan, you're gonna be fine. Like, keep going. Saddle up, girl, you're
It's
fine.
like, you got this.
So it wasn't him. Who did you go to? Who became that go-to support that really helped shape this journey?
So I did what I know what to do. It's like my history was, I'm a reporter. If I don't know the answers, I'm going to go research and I'm going to go and find experts and just start asking
Yeah.
questions. And the way I did that was I started doing Instagram lives, and I would, nobody was doing it. So I
Right.
would email these doctors, these experts in menopause, and there weren't very many
Right.
5 years ago.
Just to ground us, how many years ago was this?
It's probably about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
No menopause celebrity doctors at that point.
No,
Noted.
no, not a one, not a one. And so I just started emailing and said, hey, will you do this Instagram live? Will you answer some
Yeah.
questions? And for my own selfish needs, that's what really got me going, because I was having a lot of issues. And I'm like, why isn't anybody talking about this?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's nothing for what I was experiencing. And they were saying, oh, yeah, you're right. You're
There's
absolutely right. And these female physicians were like, we know. I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, again, I think it's wild, and we cite this all the time, which is perimenopausal women and menopausal women. It's,
Right.
one big journey here. We're the largest growing demographic in this country, numero uno. And the fact that the conversation has just started
Yeah.
is wild. So
Yeah.
it will only continue to grow because of people like you who are demanding
And
and
you, thank goodness for your community.
we're getting there. I mean, it's every day, we do feel that sense of groundswell, which feels really great, but there's so much work
Yeah.
to be done.
Yeah.
Because it'll be generational change. Think about your hysterectomy. It will take a generation to really understand
Right.
what are the implications of that medically and otherwise, right? So
Right.
anyway, so you have a hysterectomy, you have two young
Mm-hmm.
girls. How did that change your relationship to motherhood with
It
them?
was fine, Melissa.
Yeah, totally fine. Nothing to look at here.
It's totally fine.
Move on.
Uh, God, I mean, I had girls that were in the middle of puberty. They're currently now 17 and 20. So they were in their tween teen years when I was going through all of this. And we also had mental health crisis that we were
Yeah.
dealing with. So it just felt like cruel, right? Like I was like, I don't know what body I felt like somebody hijacked my body.
Yeah. Well, they did. They took the parts out and
Right.
they're gone.
And they're like, everything's gonna be the same. Carry on. And then you have these, my babies that are a mess. Also, it was, I mean, we're still working on it. It has been one hell of a journey. And I think, I come on here and I'm going to preface by saying I'm a crier. I
Yeah.
am 100% a crier. It's
Yeah.
genetic. I've been working on that, but I am a crier. So let
Don't
me get
work
that
on it.
unbuilt
Let
it.
the waterworks go. I'm telling you, just let it out. You need a good cry, like an ugly cry, a really
But
ugly cry.
I think there's just like women, and sometimes the social media doesn't help. There's just like we hold on to this thing that we think is going to make us so different or so odd or so embarrassing or not fit in. And it's like that's the thing, that the glue that brings people together and, put their arms around you and uplift you. Because the more that I've spoken about menopause and mental health, um, like the emails, the DMs. I mean, they're not by the thousands or the hundreds, but they're just so heartfelt. And that's my thing. If I can touch or help or inspire or make somebody feel a little bit less alone, I'm like, job done.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah. Well, and so, I mean, not that we totally planned it, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right.
It's Mother's Day in this beautiful month of ours.
Right.
And that convergence of motherhood and mental health and its impact. And as you and I both know, when you look at the fact that 24% of women in this country between the ages of 40 and 59 are in an SSRI, that's a problem because women are really, really, really sad.
Yeah.
And how do you begin to treat, I think we treat symptom, not source so often. So it's like, oh, you're sad, fucking, here you go, Prozac, whoop, like you're gone. I mean,
Right.
but how do you actually understand and peel back those layers of the why and help her figure out how to your point, it can't, there's so many changes going on.
Right.
And empower her with the understanding of what mental health means and how, what resources she may or may not have. And it's not one size fits all.
Right.
And there are lots of different ways to approach it.
Right.
So what were the tools as you were navigating this? And I think it's two part for me. It's like, how did you help yourself? But
Mm-hmm.
how did you help the girls? There,
Somebody said something. It was probably, I got a good therapist.
yeah,
But my therapist was the one who just reminded me. And then I'm always reading self-help books and listening to some type
yeah,
of podcast for inspiration. Um, you hear that fucking put your mask, oxygen mask on first, and then you can help. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. It is the most true thing
yeah,
ever. And I realized, like, I truly was so broken and frazzled and a mess. And so were my daughters, that I couldn't help them. And it was kind of like, how am I going to help my people?
yeah.
And the only way, like, because a mother will do basically anything for
Yeah,
their child, right?
that's
And
right.
my daughter has been, suicidal, done outpatient program. So it's been awful. And
Yeah,
I realized I can't be there for her. And I had to be there for her in ways that I had never
yeah,
experienced. And the only way I could do that was to take care of me. And for everybody, it's different. Everybody, like, whether it's walking, whether it's therapy online, whether it's books and podcast, church,
yeah.
um, working out, going outside, resting. I mean, you really have to give yourself grace to just stop and feel all the feels. And that's not when we're mothers. When do you get a chance to just stop
You don't.
and get quiet and think about what you really need? You're like, no, because you're going through the 70,000 different things that you still have to do, that you forgot to do, that you need to do, right? And our brains are like, "Pop, pop, 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 pop," even when
Yeah,
we're trying to sleep.
correct.
So it really, I think it took, like, I had a major, major mental health
Yeah,
breakdown.
of course.
And that's what helped me start helping my daughter,
Well,
through
and
her
I mean,
mental health.
if you've been pregnant or have children, they say it's like their DNA is in you. So if she's going through a mental health
Right.
crisis, you feel it. There's
Yeah.
no question that part of that is your processing too. And so being able to find the tools to help you both.
And it's so hard because life is going by, social media is going by, and you see everybody's life
Passing.
passing
Yeah,
you by, right? And you see these people that your children grew up with, and you're seeing what they're doing, and
yeah,
they seem so
yeah,
normal. And your life you're touched by mental health is far from normal. It's
Yes.
like the furthest thing from normal.
Yeah.
And you have to take care of yourself so that you can, have conversations, talk to people and not feel shame, and educate
Yeah.
people. Because if you are not impacted by mental health, God bless you, you're so lucky. But
Yeah.
you will probably meet somebody at some point that is. And the biggest gift you can give them is knowledge
Yeah.
and having an open heart and knowing what to say
Yeah.
and what not to say.
Well, and I think, I mean, have whoever's listening, the resonance of being a mother and seeing your child deeply hurting, and the perception that nobody else is hurting is even, it's like a doubling down of pain and shame. And I think that so much of that was also COVID,
Right.
like everybody shut down and went inward too, right? I feel like the convergence of what was happening in COVID was so hard on so many people. And it was like the pressure that came down on everyone was so incredible. And during that time, how do you begin to navigate the world shutting down and then you're shutting down,
Right.
and right? And so um, I'm so glad that you brought that up in terms of watching, on social
Right.
media in particular,
Right.
people, um, when you see things happening that perhaps you feel like you're not part of, is so hard.
And you know what? You really have to, my husband, God bless him. I mean, anybody that goes through this with a partner, with a spouse, I mean, there are times where I'm texting my sister, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna stab him with a fork or whatever.
Yeah.
But and we fought a lot, but he sat me down, he's like, we are on the same team.
Yeah.
We want the same end
Yeah.
results. So let's do this together. Let's be allies and not adversaries. And that was really, really huge, was making sure that I had a partner that would come in and,
How did
help
you
me.
how did you help bring him in? Did he do it on its own? Was there,
Oh no, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't pretty, but it was sheer desperation. Like, we all hands on deck,
yeah,
basically. Like, this is a matter of life and death. And so what you give it all, you put it, you find a way, you absolutely find a way.
yeah.
Um, and
So
our thing
what,
was we said, I'm the one who probably gets more emotionally impacted by seeing
right?
life, FOMO pass me by. And my husband just goes, 2 years ago, what was our prayer? That she lives.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're so right. That she's alive. I wanted my daughter to be alive. And
Yeah.
she is. And she is.
Yeah.
And so screw that,
Yeah.
school, college, proms, whatever. Like,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
gonna look different. It's gonna look different. And
Yeah.
that's our journey. Yeah.
I mean, you brought it up, and I'm not a deeply religious person. Um, but I do find myself being like, I just want to go to church,
Yeah.
or like whatever your church is, by the way. And it's this quiet and this being present and feeling like something is bigger than you
Right.
and understands what.
That's what I've had to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've grown up, going to parochial Catholic school my whole life. And so I feel like my spiritual journey, goes in waves. But I mean, it's what has gotten me through personally, because it has been some dark seasons of our life for our family. And it is that is, yeah, it's what's gotten me up every morning and taking on another day, for sure, for
I
sure.
mean, Lizzie, I think that's a huge call out in the sense that, we talk about what were the tools or the processes as a mother to help you and the girls and your husband get through this
Right.
chasm. I think that connecting with your spirit and
Yeah.
your way of, whether it's church or whatever your church is, I think is a huge component to being able to tap into as a resource. And
And then finding other women, other
yeah,
moms, other community, um, the menopause midlife community that I accidentally grew and
Yeah.
developed. Like that's been huge. I mean, I haven't been able to really create content and be heavily involved the last couple years
Yeah.
because of what's been going on in our family. But man, like to be held and know that people are thinking of
Yeah.
you and checking in on you, that's
It's huge. It's so
huge.
funny. I mean, I don't know if you listen to Esther Perel at all, but she's so fucking smart and so insightful. And I'm sure she says it a lot, but on one of her podcasts, it was like, and it goes back to marriage, but it could be motherhood. Let's, in this case, put it in. And it really is, we've lost the village because motherhood or your marriage was not singular. It wasn't just you and your
Right,
husband or you and the child. Like,
right,
was a village, and you had your village people, and you
right,
went to church or you went to synagogue or you went to wherever, like mosque. You had your people, and
right,
everybody was together, and you weren't alone. And so this sense of community, your richness of self didn't come from one person
right.
or two people. It came from lots of people. And
Yeah.
to your point, finding this village of women in the menopause community is tremendous.
Yeah. And I will say, my coping mechanism, which is not healthy at all, I don't recommend, is I self-isolate. I just really, like, it requires, there have been times where I'm like, I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not going out because to get through another day, I had to preserve like every ounce of my
Yeah.
being. And I needed peace and clarity and strength. And I knew for myself that that was the only way I was going to get it. My husband, on the other hand, he could go out, he could go
Yeah.
golfing, he could go
Right.
to dinners. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like,
But you're the bear and
yeah,
hibernating, and he's the
right,
fly. Like he was, whatever. Come up with your euphemism or whatever metaphor, and
right,
your way of survival,
right.
can change. Um, what, as you've kind of distilled the past couple of years, and let's say you're looking in a rearview mirror.
Okay.
Okay, what is the best advice that you can give women like
Hmm.
myself who have, you know, are looking into tween? I'm looking forward into tweens. Um, and I'm deep in the throes of perimenopause and rage on a daily basis, perhaps. What's your advice for women to help them through that navigation and come out the other end?
I think, whew, I think it's hard because I've had the luxury of, working full time and then being home and freelance and part time. So I can give 100% plus to helping with my family. But at the core of it is, and this has always been our thing, is family first. I don't know if it's part of our culture as well, my ethnic
Yeah,
upbringing, but like family is
yeah,
everything. It is absolutely everything. And so we've always been in each other's business and talking and spending time together, and we genuinely like each other. And I think as having teen daughters and young daughters, like being such a big part of their life and talking to them always and really talking with no judgment and no shame has been so incredibly
yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
So I feel like my kids can't tell. I've heard it
yeah.
all, Melissa. There's nothing that they can say at this point, and I just like, okay, well, how can we support you? What would you like from us? What can we do to work through this? And really, it has been so humbling, incredibly humbling. And so I just say like communication and really being a part of your child's life or your teenager's life, knowing who their friends are,
Yeah.
I mean, the phones and the social media, it's it's like an uphill climb that just gets steeper and steeper and steeper.
Yeah.
And so for me, the one thing that I did and that I still continue to do is I'm on it also. And like right now, I'm hard into TikTok. And I'm in it because it's my daughter's love language
Yeah.
with me and it's how we communicate. And I can can see as she's showing me things, or she's snapping, like I can see what's going on, or
Right.
if somebody says something to her, or she sees something. I'm like, do you understand what they just said? Do you get that? Do you understand? Like, and we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So for me,
Well,
it's really been just, and some people are just like, my kids, they're in their room. I don't know what they're doing.
yeah.
And they're gone for the weekend or whatever. But, for our family, it's really taken to be a really active part of their lives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, the anxious generation kind of spells out what happens particularly to young girls,
Right.
and that relationship to the phone.
Right.
And if you're not on top of it and fostering communication and modeling behavior that points to, we can have dialogue and let's understand what this means, and words have meanings, and
Right.
participating in that is really, I think that's such a great piece of advice.
Yeah. I mean, because if there's anything in the numerous amounts and hours of therapy that we had, is like, like words in your brain and what you hear and what you see. It's like it becomes your reality. It becomes what
Yeah.
you start to believe, and
Yep.
you can use that for good and you can use that for bad.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
you really need to make sure that you're using it for good.
Yeah. Well, you are using your platforms for good, and we are so grateful that you are doing what you're
Uh,
doing. How can women find you and connect with you if they, are kind of navigating similar roads that you are? That how would they be able to get in touch with you?
it's so funny because after we had our lunch together, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not posting. I haven't been online. I haven't been able to do it. So thank you for getting me like back on that saddle. I'm not full throttle,
You
but
don't have
it's
to be full throttle. Go side saddle. Just side
yeah.
saddle. Just like don't straddle the horse. Just kind of just
I
saying.
like that. Just side saddle. Um, So thank you for inviting me to do this.
I'm
I'm
so
on.
grateful that you did this. I think that so many women, again, we can follow up with the second half, which is aging parents, my other
Yeah,
favorite subject. Super great.
right.
Um, I think motherhood and menopause, I mean, it's so fucking insane. Like
Yeah,
it is so radically mind blowing from a mental health perspective, in particular, because they're going crazy, you're going crazy, and your husband's like watching a tennis match
right.
between, you know, Jimmy Connor and whatever. Like it's so bad. It's like,
Yeah,
and so for you to shine the light on that, and your story is so relevant and so pertinent and so relatable that, I mean, again, this because I think that your ability to make it vulnerable and raw and honest is the most helpful way to kind of help women navigate it. So
thank you. Because I mean, we all just want to feel like less alone and seen, right? Because it's a horribly
yeah.
isolating feeling when your worlds are just turning upside down and the world is just carrying on like not a care in the world.
You know what it reminds me of, Lizzie? Do you remember? I don't know how you felt when I first had little ones and I was alone for the first time and breastfeeding and like in my house alone.
With Groundhog
It was
Day going on, right?
Groundhog Day, and it was totally isolating. And I'm like, this is every day is the same. And I would watch people walk by my window, and I'm like, I'm so alone. I'm so
Yeah.
alone. And it feels not similar, but
That's
again, hormone.
it's so funny. I was talking to somebody and I said, part of the challenge is, there's this implication that as your children age, the parental load will lessen because they're more independent and they're stronger. When in essence, the parental load is turned into this emotional load that is beyond
Yeah,
anything I ever
yeah,
imagined.
worse than breastfeeding.
Worse, yeah. I'll take mastitis any day. But I'm on
Yep.
Instagram, Lizzie BTV. I'm over on TikTok, Lizzie BTV. You can find me there. And I really do. I want to just. I want to be. I don't know. A beacon of hope sounds so
You
corny, but
are.
I want other moms and other women to see that they're not like they're not alone and they're not crazy, and there is hope because it feels really hopeless. And my DMs are always open to anybody that wants to leave me a message. And I think You know, finding your people, having community is the best thing you can do. I did a podcast with Jen Marples talking about the mental health journey that our family's been through. And this was the first time I had done that. And I got a DM from a woman, a friend, colleague from my mom blogger days that I hadn't talked to in years. I can't remember the last time. And she said, "Thank you. I just listened to you. You have no idea what we're going through right now. Like, we're in it. And I needed to know that like, it's a marathon. It's a marathon." And I was like, you know, completely like, oh, like, okay. Like, I helped one
All
person.
the matter.
Done.
Yep.
We're done,
Yep.
right? We're done.
It's
We're done.
amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
You're
I'm so
welcome. You're
grateful
welcome.
for you.
I'm grateful
And all
for
the things that
you.
I mean, like, I can see it. It's going to be so good. It's amazing. Keep on, keep
Oh,
on.
thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
sweetie. Thank you so much.
Okay. Happy happy
Yay!
Maycember. Okay,
Alrighty,
talk
bye-bye.
to you soon. Bye.